Guys, welcome back to Jerk Block Talk. I'm Jason Fernandez. We are here at CrossFit Rife, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about cueing. So if you saw one of the previous videos, kind of the topic there was, give direction, not explanation. So instead of kind of telling them what's wrong, just give them the solution. So that was kind of the point of that video. Today we're going to elaborate on that a little bit more and talk about another way that can kind of go wrong with regard to cueing. And this video is kind of ironic because I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to tell you not to do, which is don't tell people what not to do, right? So let me give you a perfect example. Let's say I was doing some cleans and I'm pulling early with my arms. So what we would avoid, or would like to avoid trying to do, is say, hey, don't pull early with your arms. And really think about it as like, if you're talking to like little kids, right? I don't necessarily want to tell them not to do, I just want to provide them with another option. So, instead of saying, hey, when you have a lot of, early arm pull is like a very common fault with regard to the snatch and the clean and jerk. So instead of saying, don't pull with your arms anymore, it's not necessarily like telling them what's wrong. You're just giving them what not to do. Tell them what to do. Again, the point is get to the point. So if I was looking at any of these folks here, it's a heavy deadlift for today, and I see somebody rounding their back, a common fault that we might see is somebody might say, hey, don't round your back when you're deadlifting. Well, just skip that portion and don't tell them what not to do, because in some cases, inherently what you're doing is you're sometimes ingraining bad faults, or you're introducing faults that might not have been there anyway. So instead of telling them what not to do, just tell them what to do. So a perfect example of that would be, instead of saying, hey, don't pull early with your arms, say, hey, leave your arms straight, or flex your triceps. Or if it had a rounded back in a deadlift, which we want to try to avoid, I'm not going to say don't round your back. I'm going to say, hey, chest up or arch your back. We want to try to avoid beating to death what's wrong or what not to do. Another thing I see all the time with coaches when they come in, when they demo, is they go through the list of all of the faults. So let's say we were talking about, the push press, and they were going through some of the progressions, and they'll say, all right, we're going to go through the progressions. What I don't want to see is chest coming forward. Just skip that part. Address it if it comes up, but sometimes what you can do is you can kind of dig yourself a hole for no reason whatsoever. For instance, like nobody in the class might dip forward. You might see zero forward inclination, so you've just addressed it for no reason whatsoever. So just say, hey, again, if we're talking push press in this scenario, say chest up, the knees will bend and then they'll extend, and just leave it at that. So the point is really kind of just getting to the point. Don't tell people what not to do, just tell them what to do. Because I've seen it time and time again. You watch people do some warm-up reps, and then the coach tells everybody what not to do, and all of a sudden people are doing that. Because I love the saying is, people are going to do what you do before they do what you say. So the simple act of showing them what not to do can in many cases produce faults that would not have been there had you not shown them to deadlift with a rounded back. So you kind of want to avoid doing that in most cases. There are some scenarios where it's kind of required or a really good option. For instance, in visual cueing, when I want to show somebody, it makes sense to show them what they're doing if they're doing it incorrectly, so they have a frame of reference, and then immediately follow that up with, this is what I want you to do. So for instance, in the push press, if I was gonna, let's say my verbal cue and my tactile cue didn't work, so I'm gonna shift to visual, what I wanna say is, hey, Johnny, you're doing this, I want you to do this. And that's pretty much where you want to leave like the showing them what's wrong piece. Other than that, don't show it to them. You're going to create a lot more confusion than is necessary. Just get to the point, tell them what to do. So the first video was don't give them an explanation of what's wrong, just tell them what to do. This one is following on top of that, which is don't tell them what not to do, just tell them what to do. Just leave it super simple. And that's a really hard thing for a lot of coaches to do, because we spend so much time gathering all this knowledge that we just want to share it with everybody. But you know, in this environment, like in the heat of the moment during the game, that stuff is useless, right? So just get to the point. Tell them what you want them to do. Tell them exactly how you want it done. Tell them when you want it done. And you'll be much better off. If you can do those two things, your cueing will become very, very efficient, and you'll notice that you can get corrections a lot faster than you could have before. So, you know, again, don't tell people what not to do, tell them what to do. If you have any other questions about cueing, things of that nature, I'm going to do a video pretty soon on kind of what the transition should be when you're working back and forth between visual, verbal, and tactile cueing, so that you can get the result that you want. You can get there pretty quickly. So, nice, Luke. So you can get that stuff done. So, if you like this stuff, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have questions, please let me know, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.